But Mark, let's move on into our next topic, and we're going to be looking at the Cowboys and more specifically Ezekiel Elliott. We're answering the question today, can Zeke clean up his image? Because we've known for a while now that there's domestic abuse allegations between Zeke and his ex-girlfriend. And earlier today, Chris Carter, Hall of Famer Chris Carter, was on Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. And he had to say this: based on the information that's going to come out, it's going to be fairly easy to determine that something happened to this woman in her 4 days with Zeke. And then he speculated that the suspension would be in the 4-game range. However, Roger Goodell has now come out and kind of come back with a left hook of his own and said, I don't think Chris has anything to do with the decision. We haven't made any decisions yet. So we're not talking about will a decision be made, because the hammer could come down at any point. I just want to ask you the simple question. Can Zeke clean up his image? Because there has been enough going on with Zeke to where we can ask, dude, you got to clean up your image a little bit.
Yeah, I think the easy thing to say, just to get right to the question, is, yeah, he can totally clean up his image. He definitely has the opportunity. He's young. This is his second season. He's 22 years old. I'm not a Jerry Jones fan. You know that. And a lot of people at home know I'm not a Jerry Jones fan. Sorry to the Cowboys fans out there. But I actually like what he said at the Hall of Fame game, that, when he was getting at, this is a young player, and a lot of these young players go through something. Might not be to this extent, but they go through something, and they need to realize that that's not okay. Well, the things that they're doing right now might not be the way they want to continue if they want to have this career. And I'm going off on my own a little bit there.
Yeah.
But I think that's really a big point for Zeke here, is that whether he, did or did not do anything to this woman, with issues at nightclubs and bars and whatever, if any of this continues, if he's drinking and driving, which seems like potentially could be the next thing, because a lot of these young players, that's an issue that they get into. Drugs potentially is an issue they get into. Any of this here, at some point a player has to realize, I can't keep doing things like this. Otherwise, I end up like Johnny Manziel. A young stud who ends up out of the league before he has an opportunity to make a name for himself. That wasn't a bad one. So, for me, for Zeke, what I want to see out of him is I would love to see him say something to kind of address this. And I know he can't really do too much because of legal issues right now, but I would love to hear him say some things. Even if it's just kind of maybe remorse or the awareness of, I got to do something. Like, I got to clean my act up a little bit, or whatever it might be. I would love to see him take ownership of it, to see that maturity out of him, because that's what people are afraid of, is that he might be immature, and he's 22 years old. Can't blame the kid too much. But you want to see a little bit of that. I would love to see him just focus and do well in the season and have it just not be an issue, because it was an issue this past season. There's no ignoring it. It's a thing. But from this day forward, he can move forward and have it not be an issue next time, and that's what we need.
And I mean, the question of can he? Of course he can, especially because it's so young into his NFL career.
Yeah.
He's entering his second
season. And
he's
good, so he's going to get a second chance.
Well, and that's the thing that, that bugs me the most about this situation is, I'm not talking about the part of, because right now, Chris Carter seems to think what is going to come out, like he knows something that we don't. Right now, nothing has been proven in our sense.
As we are talking right now.
Yeah, nothing has been proven.
As you're listening, something may have been proven.
It may have. Apparently Chris Carter thinks it's going to come down within the next 2 days. However, I look at it and it kind of irks me that it's like, oh, well, you know what? Just because you're really good at football, we're going to give it a slide, or we're going to, it seems like we can be apologetic to it, to where, look at Greg Hardy. What he did was terrible. Oh, but because you could rush the quarterback really fucking good, we'll give you a job. Yeah. However, look at Colin Kaepernick, to where it's like, well, you know what? You could be my starting quarterback, but you're really like, I don't know
But you
how
would
much
be
of
competing,
a, like how
yeah.
much of a upgrade are you? I'm going to pass. And his issue is something totally different than domestic abuse. I think Zeke needs to clean up his act yesterday. And the reason why I say that, and of course everyone's going to be like, oh, Ricky, it's like the big like, oh, you're saying hot takes here, hot takes. But no, I'm serious to where you have this, you had the incident with him pulling the girl's shirt off while they were partying. You even had the situation of, I know that some people are going to look at this and be like, well, it's a non-issue, but I only look at it as an issue because there are rules within your league that are against this. When it was, I want to say they were in Seattle or they were in Colorado or something, either in Denver or Seattle, and he went to the weed store. And when it blew up about that, yeah, where you were at, it's legal. But you got to understand the team you play for, it's not legal. The league that you are in, think of, like, look at Josh Gordon, for example.
Yeah.
With everything that happened today. Like, the things that Zeke has done, it would be, like, I look at it and I just go, poor choices. That's what it comes down to where, like, I mean, and part of me wants to feel like, and this is me kind of speculating, one of the big problems, and it kind of is a college football issue as well, Zeke, really good running back for the Ohio State University, wins them a national championship, was big in that game that they beat Alabama, probably larger than life BMOC on that campus, then comes into the NFL, top 5 pick, and has a blowout rookie season to where he is just running the doors wide open his rookie year.
He's on top of the world.
Ego going a little bit to the head, I think, in this case. The ego is going a little bit to the head to where he's probably got the situation of, you know what, I can do this because nothing's going to touch me. I'm Superman.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't doubt that that's the case. I mean, it just blows my mind when you look at all these type of issues. When you think about Josh Gordon, I mean, Josh Gordon's a huge one for me. When you look at Johnny Manziel, who Johnny Manziel had actual issues he needed to go to rehab or something for. But Josh Gordon's the one that blows my mind too, but I'm going to lump Zeke into this for the conversation. You have somebody who's making dumb choices that potentially could harm your career. You are going to get paid millions of dollars. You will never have to work another day in your life if you're smart with this money. Why would you mess it up? Why would you do anything to mess that up? And I don't want to, talk about where people are coming from, the family history, the socioeconomic history, whatever it might be that might, relate to some decisions being made. So I don't want to worry about that. But what I'm saying now is you have all this money. If I was getting all this money, and obviously I don't, so I can't really speak from it, but I'll lock myself in my damn room and I'm not messing this shit up.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm getting in trouble for going out and drinking, if I'm getting in trouble for going out and smoking too much weed like Josh Gordon, I'm going to say, fine, I will pay somebody to watch me, and every time I grab that blunt, you knock it out of my hand and say, no, bad. Don't do that. Like, I will pay somebody to do this. It's funny, Des Bryant, right?
It's funny because actual former players have brought that up before in separate cases.
Right?
Des was one of it.
Des is the guy who literally had people. I thought it was the team that may have been paying for this.
Yeah.
For Des, but he had people who were like, "All right, Des, it's time to go home now." And sometimes you got to do it if you can't. This is from Kevin Smith, director. Director, actor, writer, etc.
Fat Man on Batman.
Fat Man on Batman, podcaster. Obviously, friend of the show. So his thing that he's always said is, and he referring to Jason Mewes, the time I heard him say it, is if you can't control your high, you don't get to do it anymore. Might not be the exact quote. And that's what it comes down to for a guy like, Gordon or Manziel, who, when it gets to a point where it's a problem, you don't get to do it. For Des, if partying too much was too much for you to handle, you don't get that right anymore.
So like with Zeke, you can't control your partying, you don't get to party anymore.
Exactly. If you're having this much of an issue, or you're having issues where domestic violence may be an issue, you're lifting up some girl's shirt, which by law is going to be sexual assault.
Yeah.
So we don't want to downplay that. Then you know what? you don't get to go to those parties anymore. If you are not able to control it, you don't get to do it because you're going to mess up your chance. And Zeke is a fantastic athlete. He's one of the best running backs out there right now. And he's young, so he's going to have a lot more years. So if you're going to mess it up, there's only so much forgiveness that's going to come your way. Whether it's because the NFL has suspended you so much, it's just not worth the team paying you anymore, or people are just sick of you and they're done with you.
Well, and that's one of the things, and I'll be honest, it's one of the reasons why the Cowboys are my least favorite team in the NFL. And like Jerry Jones, you mentioned you don't like him. I don't really like him either because not only does he employ, I know I'm not talking about Zeke in this first one.
Yeah.
This is more of a Greg Hardy issue where not only does he employ people that have sketchy pasts.
Although to be fair, Greg Hardy's not there now.
Not there now, but
Yeah.
you still employed him for a season knowing what he did, and what he did was worse than anything we're talking about with Zeke right now.
Yep.
And it's still on your track record. Not only that, you look at this, and I feel like and I know with the domestic violence part, people are going to say, but guys, you can't say that because we don't know what have happened yet. Yeah, but I do know what has happened with and it would be different if we actually caught him smoking. We just caught him going into the shop. Could have just been looking around, coming right out. However, people are going to think, why are you going to go in there if you're
perception.
not going to buy it? And then we see the part, like we said, he was partying, took the girl, like lifted the girl's shirt, revealed her boob to everybody. Like even that alone, the Cowboys should have stepped in and just done something, a fine, and I get how maybe, like, I think it was more towards the NBA side where I get it. Some people are going to be like, Ricky, you can fucking find these players, but really it's just like, fine, let me pull out my checkbook. Here you go. It doesn't matter to me.
You don't write checks, straight cash.
Straight cash, homie. But, yeah, I feel like something should be done because I feel
Something's got to click, right?
I feel like the attitude around Zeke when it comes to the Cowboys is I don't know how to put my finger on it. It's either I want to say apologetic or it's very much like no, it's okay. Like Colin Cowherd when he was making fun of Steph Curry this week, calling him the Steflon puppy. That's what it's kind of like. It's kind of like, oh, he didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Oh, he peed on the carpet. Oh, he didn't know any better. He just took the dog and bit it in the neck. He didn't know any better, Mark.
Now, I think what's funny with this, too, is you think about things that can get him, and yeah, money's never going to be an issue for a guy like Zeke. And I think about my favorite coach. You know who my favorite coach is? Coach Taylor.
Clear eyes, full hearts,
Friday
can't
Night
lose.
Lights. You know what Coach Taylor would have done?
Tell me, Mark.
He would have benched his ass.
Yeah, bench that ass.
And that's the hard thing. Like, are you really going to sit Zeke? You know, the star running back, the guy who's selling all the jerseys. Are you really going to bench him? But if he got some teeth,
I think
you might do it,
would
right?
It would be more powerful coming from Jerry Jones than Roger Goodell.
that's what I would want. And that's what I was saying of, like, Coach, Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett can say, no, we're going to do some of the packages that don't involve you today. I mean, that's a ballsy move. And I don't think we've necessarily gotten to that point with Zeke unless, because we're recording this before any of this domestic violence really has a final answer.
Yeah.
If we have an answer that, yes, this did in fact happen, then it's the NFL that's taking care of it. For, let's say we find out that things come up say, and no, and I know that was a jumble. Things come out and we say, no, nothing happened. It's all good. We're above water here. Then I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys need to really do much with Zeke right now because the season's about to start and, he's probably not going to go out and party that much more. But if it continues being a thing and it continues being detrimental to the team, detrimental to his image, where he is saying and doing things that are going to potentially get him a suspension due to the integrity of the league, there was air quotes on that for those of you listening, then yeah, at some point the team itself needs to step up and say, all right, even if it's just a quarter, even if it's just a few plays, no, you're not going out there right now. You can wait until it's your turn. Because it's a team sport.
And I know that, part of this might be like, well, Ricky, we haven't gotten everything officially in the hands of the NFL, but I kind of feel like when it comes to like the Ray Rice situation, that was like the ground zero. That was the first incident. And like the NFL comes out and says, you know what, we're going to take a harder stand on domestic violence. However, I don't know about you, but like when it's come to the cases after Ray Rice, I haven't really gotten the perception that the NFL is really like taking it A, seriously, and B, with a like, because here's the way I look at it, and this is me kind of giving my opinion of this. If you are accused and is convicted the right word? If it's if it's proven that you were abusive and have domestic abuse, not just accused, but it was proven that it happened, you should get the book thrown at you for 1 season. At least 1 season, get the book thrown. Like,
so you're saying suspended for a whole year?
Whole year. I'd be fine with it too, only because.
And
like,
you're not saying a conviction. You're saying that it was proven.
I'm saying
proven goes further than a conviction.
Proven that something happened, and
so proven is like Ray Rice dragging his girlfriend by the hair.
And the reason why I'm saying that is, let's go off of what Chris Carter said, where he said in 48 hours he'd be shocked if Zeke is not suspended, and he thinks it's going to come in the 4-game variety.
And now Roger Goodell's going to wait for hour number 49.
Let's be really honest here. You're missing the Giant game. Okay, that's a pretty big game.
You're going to lose that one anyways because that's what the Dallas Cowboys do.
You play the Broncos. Do you really think they don't even know who their quarterback
Broncos
is right
aren't
now.
tough.
You play the Cardinals.
We don't know what we're going to get out of the Cardinals.
And then you play the Rams.
That's probably easy.
If you give Zeke a 4-game suspension, if he is proven that he did it, you give him those 4 games, he's not going to learn anything. I am under the impression.
Well, if anything, he's going to win a Super Bowl, as Tom Brady just did.
Yeah, he's going to win a Super Bowl. But I look at it, if you suspend him for the whole year, that means a whole lot more than just 4 games. Because then, not only that, this is a young player. You've basically said, you're going to do something like that, I'm going to take a year from your career.
Yep.
I am taking a year from your career. Guess what? This whole year of your life, you didn't get to play football.
And it's interesting, too, because, I mean, that really brings up the team's aspect of it, of if someone has a history of that, like a Greg Hardy or something like that, where they're knowing as they're signing him, this will potentially be an issue. That's going to really, really deter a team from doing it.
And you know what's the most interesting thing? And this is a Cowboys situation. I heard this on First Take from, I want to say the moderator's name is Molly.
Yeah, Molly.
And she said, right now, the Cowboys have 3 suspended players. And there's a rule in the NFL, once you hit 3 suspended players for the year, you have to pay a fine of $200,000. Guess what? They have 3 other players, Zeke being one of them, that could be suspended. If they hit 6 players, do you know how much they'll have to pay in fines?
I hope it's like $1 million.
$500,000.
$500,000.
$500,000.
I was going big.
The team will have to write that check. So the team, not the players, the actual team is writing a $500,000 check just to have these 6 suspended players on the team, basically.
Do you know, or did she say what that check goes to?
No, I think it just goes to I would assume it just goes to the NFL.
I would hope the NFL does something nice with it. Like, I don't know, if these are domestic issues, donates to a shelter for battered women or something like that would be nice. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to get super harsh on Zeke. As we stand right now, because the two of us do not know what happened.
It's like, and circling this back to the beginning, he can change this.
Yeah.
He is like young enough in his career to where he it is possible for you to change it.
Mike Vick literally went to jail and then came back and was a loved player in Philadelphia.
And then got hated again when he told Colin Kaepernick to cut his hair.
Yeah. And I mean, and then you have other people who are always going to hate him no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's okay. They're justified in doing so. I don't think that we really need to say that Zeke is this untouchable guy right now. As it stands right now, we don't know what happened.
Not
with
by the league, but the Cowboys won't do shit.
Oh no, of course not.
Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones, if it was on them, I'll even say it on the record. They don't have the balls to do it, Mark.
No teeth.
They don't have the balls, the cojones to do it.
I think that when it comes down to the NFL's whole domestic violence thing, you said it yourself. I agree. I don't believe that the NFL actually cares. Just like, when it comes to, because Colin Kaepernick has briefly come up a few times so far, when it comes to the NFL's love of the military, I don't believe they give a shit about the military either. It's just that those camo jerseys, they're big bucks.
Or like even think of the people have actually looked into the numbers for the breast cancer awareness for October.
They really don't do very much.
How little of that money actually goes to breast cancer research.
Yeah. It's like every one of these issues the NFL picks up, I don't buy it. Same thing with the CTE. When that big concussion thing comes out.
Oh, they don't care about that.
They really don't. They would rather it just disappeared.
Well, it's like Dave was telling me. He's like, the big findings recently came out. They fired the researchers.
And I actually, I do actually support that the NFL should have nothing to do with any of those type of research, because you can't believe that they're unbiased.
You can't have an unbiased going into that.
I mean, because they benefit from these findings coming back and saying, no, getting hit in the head actually makes everything better.
Yeah, makes you smarter.
Yeah, it makes you smarter, it makes you play better. So get back out there, young boy. I just don't believe that the NFL actually cares, because the NFL's a business, and most of these businesses don't care that much. Thus is the way of the world. So... Can Zeke clean up his issue or his whatever? Yes, he can. But every time one of these things happens, it's only going to drag his perception down a little bit more.
You know who had, and this will be the last thing I say about it, reeling it back to the can he. You know who put it perfectly, and I can relate to this on a personal level? Jason Whitlock. On Speak for Yourself, he said, can he do it? Yes. But he's going to want to do it.
He needs to want to do it.
Let's be honest. You guys look at me. I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy. I got some weight on these bones.
No one's denying it.
Going to my
Just
doctor.
ask the comment section.
Yeah, just ask the comment section. Going to my doctor last Thursday, and he basically told me I'm unhealthy. I got to change my eating styles to basically bring my life expectancy. He was trying to scare me, but I got the point of the message. He basically came
to you and said, you're about to die.
Yes, you're about to die is basically what he said. Now, I could have sat there at that point and said, nah, I'm okay, and had McDonald's and a Dr. Pepper, or I could have been doing what I'm doing now, drinking more water, not having fast food, actually changing to try to make myself a healthier person.
You have to want it.
That's what Zeke has to do. It's, yes, you can change and clean your image, but you actually have to want to and put it in. It's the same thing that people deal with addiction. It's the same thing, like I just mentioned, dealing with overeating and just kind of getting the fast food. Yeah, it's easy to go to McDonald's. It's easy to say, hey, I'll take this, this, and that, drive around and get it. It's harder to go get that chicken and actually cook it and wait for it to be done and then eat it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he can clean the image. He just has to want to do it.
And the big thing will come down for Zeke. Does Zeke want to be another one of these 30 for 30s of look what happens?
What if I told you?
Yeah. And he is an absolute stud. He's an absolute star, freak athlete, and everything like that. He can have an amazing career, but these type of things will be the thing that drags him down. At the very least, it'll be the thing that people say, yeah, Zeke was a great player, but I wouldn't have wanted him on my team. And I hope for his sake that things are clean, and I hope for his sake that he's going to do what he needs to where this whole perception goes away.
And we live in a society kind of, I want to say a little bit because of social media and how reactionary we are on everything.
Yeah, very.
You look at Ray Rice. Before anything came out, boom, people were already on the side of hating Ray Rice. Adrian Peterson, the news came out about his kid, boom, people were already on the side.
I still think that Adrian Peterson should have been suspended for life.
And
I think he should be done.
We also had the situation of like Greg Hardy. I'm trying to think of other ones. I know Colin Kaepernick, it wasn't domestic abuse or anything, but that's another one where people immediately split to sides, and there's that side that hate him and can't stand him for what he did. And that's the kind of culture we live in now, to where if you are accused of something like that, people automatically hate you.
A perfect example on a different way is that, so A Dog's Purpose, that movie. I'm sure you remember the movie.
How they thought they were abusing the dog.
They thought they were abusing the dogs because of doctored footage.
Yeah.
The doctored footage made a huge deal and everyone freaked out.
Yeah.
Later on, like a week or two later, I think it was, when we found out actually everything was okay.
No one cared. It just
nobody
went away.
cared. They already had their reaction.
Yep.
They were already angry. So that's the problem for a guy like Zeke, too. If he goes out and he does something, he could be cleared of all wrongdoing. And so many people out there are still going to say, no, he totally did it. I think he did it. I don't remember him not doing it. I remember it coming out that he may have done this.
I'll say this.
So just don't put it out there.
I'll say this to end everything, and this is something my grandfather used to tell me. You want to know the best way to avoid all of this?
Don't get in.
Don't put yourself in that situation. Just don't do it. Walk the other way.
Yep.
I know it might be hard, but just walk the other way. Don't put yourself in that situation. But I want to know what you guys think. Is Zeke going to get suspended? Can he still clean up his image? Do you see, really the question, do you see Zeke cleaning up his image, or does he turn into a 30 for 30? Does he turn into a player that is loved or hated on either side because of this? I want to know what you guys think. Let us know down below in the comment section.